We're now going to look at running exams. So firstly, we might have reading time at the beginning of the exam. If I set the reading time, then that sets to 5 minutes, which is the default. I can cancel that if I want to. I'm going to go to Preferences and I'm going to change that reading time so it now becomes 1 minute. I'm going to apply that and save it. And now if I set the reading time, it will come up as 1 minute. So now we might be starting off and we tell the pupils that they may begin to read and we start the reading time. And as you can see, the countdown goes down 1 second at a time at the same time as the seconds on the clock change. And once we get down to 0, the reading time ends and we are now ready to start the exam. So in order to begin an exam, there are a couple of ways of doing this. One is that we can select an exam by clicking on it, then right click and begin exam. Or we can go up to the exams menu and begin exam after we've clicked. But probably the easiest way is to just simply go to the exam itself and double click it. So maybe we are going to start the exam on the next minute, which is now. I'll double click and as you can see, it set the start time at 14:31. So it was actually scheduled to start at a different time, but once we hit the double click and we start the exam, it sets the time to the current time. I've still got the exam selected, so I'm going to press Control and the exam itself, and that will unselect it. Of course, I might want to start a few exams at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually select all of the rest of the exams. So I'll click on the first one, hold down Control, and then click on the rest. And now, if I right click and begin exam, that will then begin them all. However, one thing that you might remember is that English Paper 2 is scheduled to start after English Paper 1 has finished. So in fact, I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to right click and reset it because I shouldn't have started that exam. So it'll give me a message asking me if I'm sure. I'll say yes, and then it puts that back down to the bottom and we can start that exam later. It's reset the time back to what it was originally. You might also notice that around about half a minute ago, the remaining times all went down by 1 for the exams which are running. The one that isn't running remains at the length of the exam because we've not set it to run yet. And as we come round to the next minute, you'll see the remaining times change again. Just to speed things up a bit, so that you can see what will happen, I'm going to edit the economics exam at the top, and I'm going to change the length of that exam to 12 minutes. And you can see what's happened is, because we've got to 14:33, then that's highlighted the 10-minute warning. And the remainder is highlighted as well as a 10-minute warning, so that we can see that we can give that warning. Once the minute finishes and the remaining time goes down to 9, then that warning goes off there, but it remains on 10 minutes in the 10-minute column so that we can see that there is less than 10 minutes to run overall. The same will happen when we get to 5 minutes, and the same will happen when we get to the end. And in fact, I'm going to change the length again, just so we can see what happens, and edit that length to, let's say, 8 minutes. So now you can see there's 5 minutes remaining, and we've got that highlighted. And then let's have a look if we change again in a minute. Let's just go over to the next minute. So now there are 4 minutes remaining. So if I set that exam to be 5 minutes long, then you can see that the 10-minute warning has passed, the 5-minute warning has passed, there's 1 minute remaining, and in approximately half a minute we will get to the end of the exam. So as we approach the end of the exam, we can have a look at what happens to the screen, and the end now is highlighted, the remaining time of 0 is highlighted, and the status of the exam has changed to ended. At this point, I can either leave the exam there, or if I want to just clear things up a bit, I can delete the exam. So in fact, I'll do that now. I'll right click, I'll delete it, it asks me to confirm, yes I'm sure, and then it's a bit clearer what else is currently running.